Hey everybody, this is Everyday Commentary, and this is a video overview of this knife. And this knife is, as you can see right there, the SOG Terminus XR. Let me go through the specs a little bit, and then I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like. So the first thing is this knife weighs just about 3 ounces. I think it's 3.12 ounces. It runs on, it's a flipper, and it has a 2.95-inch blade. And the blade steel is BDZ1, which is a variant of BD1, which is a carpenter steel. The knife uses this lock, which is they're calling the XR lock, but it functions very much like a Benchmade axis lock. And it deploys either by the flipper, which is excellent. You can also snap it open using the locks as the deployment method, which I think is a terrible way because as you can see it bounce back. Or you can use the thumb studs. I will tell you the thumb studs are pretty hard to use. You got to kind of give it a little double action. But if you do that, you can roll it open pretty quickly. The knife has stainless steel liners and that have all been skeletonized. You can see it right there. Let me see if I can get you a better shot. Right there. They have been skeletonized. It has this deep carry over the top pocket clip. And the pocket clip actually slides into a slot in the back of the handle, as you can see, and then you put the screw in, and it works both sides. This knife is 100% ambidextrous. There is nothing that would preclude a lefty from owning and using this knife just as well as a righty. You'd have to switch the clip because it comes for right-handed carry, but that's it. The clip has been a redesigned SOG clip. The original SOG clip had the SOG stamped in, but it caused some weakness here and resulted in clips breaking. The handle is carbon and fiber on G10, and it's been chamfered. And as you can see, there are these diagonal mill marks in the handle that give it a little bit of extra grip. And this is a really grippy knife, even though it's smooth to the touch. When you grip it, your fingers, the fat of your fingers, kind of slide into those mill marks, and it really makes it hard to move if you're holding on tight. The other thing is the jimping is pretty sharply cut, both the jimping here and especially the jimping on the flipper. It is extremely fine, and it hasn't ever torn my finger, but it definitely gives me calluses. And this is a knife that you're really going to want to flick around. It's fun to flick open. So those are the specs. The knife comes in at about $80 retail, which is a pretty good price. It's a little high for the steel, but it's right on par for what you're getting in terms of material. Here's a knife compared to a regular AA battery. As you can see, it's not the thinnest knife in the world, but it's not all that thick either. Here's a knife compared to a very similar knife, the Benchmade mini grip. Again, as you can see, the mini grip is a little bit thinner. Let's see how the blade lengths compare. So it has a little bit shorter blade length, a little bit shorter handle than the mini grip. If you do pivot to pivot, you can see that both the handle and the blade are a little shorter. Overall, I really like this knife. I will tell you right now, this is the best SOG knife I've ever, or the best SOG folder I've ever owned. The Pillar is probably one of the best fixed blades on the market. So in terms of my favorite SOG knife ever, it's either that one or this one. I can also tell you that this knife is impeccably well made. There is just no errors on fit and finish whatsoever. The chamfer here is really nice. It makes the knife very comfortable in the pocket. And the pocket clip is excellent. It just really works. I think that the axis lock type thing, I was very worried that it wasn't going to work because I had the the 300 SN, and that was horrible. But this knife is actually quite good at flicking. This is an easy no wrist flick, none of that kind of thing. And here's why. I believe that the channel that's cut out to accommodate the locking mechanism has a very strong detent in it compared to regular axis lock. Look at that. So if you're here and you go, let's do it side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here. Now look, watch this. And that thing just rockets closed. So I imagine that the channel's cut in a different way. I mean, look, watch, I'll get my finger out of the way. With a flipper tab, you can see it just snaps closed. Really like that. And this knife is just eminently fidgetable. It's 100% ambidextrous. Two things I don't like about the knife. So one simple thing is, I had to Loctite this screw. So the knife kept, the pivot kept working its way out so that it would introduce some blade play. And I Loctited it so that it's still easy to flick open, but there's absolutely no blade play up, down, or side to side. This is a very, very solid knife once the pivot is properly tuned. I put some Loctite Blue 242 in there and clamped it back together, and it's been fine ever since. The other thing that I'm not thrilled about, though it's not that big a deal, is the blade steel. This knife is 80 bucks, and it has BD1, BD1Z, whatever you want to say, blade steel. And that's a good blade steel, but it's not the best blade steel. If you compare it to something like this knife, the CRKT Pilar, this is the premium Pilar, it's 67 bucks, and it has S35VN. This was made in China, so was the Pilar. They have S35VN in China. If this knife had S35VN, it may be the best everyday carry knife on the market, and it would certainly be one of the best, probably two best everyday carry knives released in 2018, along with the Mass Drop Jet. That said, BDZ1 is a really nice steel to sharpen. So it may not hold an edge as long as some of the more premium steels, but it's very, very easy to sharpen. If you are a sharpening moron, you can still get your knife hair-splitting sharp. And so for that reason, it's probably worth the money. I really like the knife. It looks good. It's fun to play with. It's fun and easy to use. It carries well. It flips nicely. SOG hit a home run with this knife. If they would have had a little bit better blade steel, this thing would be a grand slam. But as it is, this is definitely something you should consider if you're looking at a sub $100 everyday carry knife. And so when you get a chance, go on over to the website, Everyday Commentary, and look for a review. And until then, enjoy the video, and thanks for watching.